Hey everybody, I'm Tyler. This is my co-host Brad, and today we're Breaking Bad and chasing cars. We just wouldn't know what to do if we actually caught one, so we do things.
I feel like I know where that's from. Oh wait, Batman!
It's from Batman.
Yes, we're chasing the proverbial car.
Right.
And if we actually do catch it, I don't think we actually would know what to do.
I wouldn't know what to do.
I don't think dogs actually know what to do either. They just catch you like, I got it. It's like when a dog waits for you to come home. It's like, why is it waiting? It can wait, somewhere else, but it wants to wait at the door for you because it's so happy that it just did it.
Do you know what I hate about dogs? They're all evil. So let's talk about evil alignments.
Dogs are evil.
Kidding.
Whoa. That just ignited every dog lover in the comments. There we go. Please don't comment on that. I don't need to hear how that was false.
Okay, the fact is all dogs are good. Let's get that straight. All
well,
dogs are
I think
good.
in the terms of D&D, dogs don't have an alignment.
Oh,
so there we
up.
go. There we go. We're good, okay? Dogs don't have an alignment. Now you can get off our back.
So we want to talk about evil. We want to talk about being evil. At a table, not as an NPC, not as a big bad of the entire campaign.
Oh, so you want to play an evil character, like your PC wants to play an evil character.
Like
you want to be
committed.
evil. You want to do one of those. You want to go outside the box, and you want to be the not so nice person.
Outside the box, inside the alignment box, you were bold and you put a big fat capital E.
With the L or an N or a C.
Yeah.
But there's the E there.
E's there.
E is there. That's the important point. E is there.
And a lot of DMs out there say it can't be done. They say pick a different alignment.
I would say a lot of people in parties just say it can't be done.
Yeah. Intuitively, it seems like maybe it couldn't. We're going to talk to you about how it can be done.
Because that's what we're saying.
Can do.
You can do an evil alignment in any table, and it will work.
Mm-hmm.
It can.
There's just a few principles you have to remember. Number one principle, Brad likes to say this a lot about every alignment, but in particularly for evil, it makes sense.
Yeah, don't play your alignment. Play a character.
Yep.
I think the quintessential example that's not evil related, but we all know the lawful good paladin who just tends to play lawful good and not necessarily the paladin, right?
Yep.
Or how sometimes people play lawful good and they seem like the paladin, they're like not the paladin. It's like, okay, come on, dude. It's like play the character, not an alignment.
Exactly. And we all know we did a big video on tropes. Check it out here. Just kidding. It might not even be there. I don't know how cool
or it could be here, or maybe there.
Did you move it? Move it.
That's more work for the unseen servant editor. Thank you.
Thanks, unseen servant.
We appreciate you. Watch your video on that one too.
So true.
Oh man. All right. Enough of that. Let's get back to the actual, conversation for today.
Yeah. I mean, there's the trope of somebody being chaotic or whatever, but the big thing, the big thing is like, if you're playing an evil alignment, there will be inevitable friction zones, and so we want to talk about how to navigate those friction zones.
Well, I will say, I think you put any party together with any group, there's always could potentially be friction zones. I mean, you could have friction zones between your lawful good paladin and the neutral good ranger if you wanted, right?
That's true.
There could always be friction zones, but I think inherently, when everybody's quote unquote good, they're all trying to get around that anyway. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why people seem to forget that when they decide to play the evil character. Like, you should traverse your friction zone. They're always going to be there.
Right.
Why ignore it? Why?
Yep.
I mean, make it, be like symbiotic, like,
yes.
Like, some cool villains in certain games and comics, right?
Absolutely.
Symbiotes.
And that's actually not a terrible description. I mean, like Venom, when he's Agent Venom, the U.S. government is even like using him.
Right.
He follows orders. He's like evil still, but he's like lawful. When he's Venom, he's kind of this neutral evil that just very selfish, very self-serving,
right.
Or maybe even verging on chaotic, because he wants to.
Well,
anyways, it's neat.
Okay, we're getting into what the alignments are.
Sorry. Let's
go over that first real quick.
Yeah.
What does it mean to be lawful evil?
Why don't we use the example, like you said, in a lot of movies and comics? Let's use a movie that actually depicts all the alignments of evil really well, The Dark Knight.
Oh, I love that movie. Oh, it's a good one.
Everybody
really wants to be, I'm Batman. But I can't pull it off because I don't have the cool voice. I'm Batman. Now you could do it. I never could. I'd be like, I'm Robin.
So let's start with Lawful. What are some characters that are lawful from Batman, Brad? Brad.
Well, if I sit there and say lawful,
yeah,
like evil. I mean, I guess two things come to my mind. I mean, the one I always think of is like, and everybody asks me, what does it mean to be lawful evil? I always say like, well, like you're the mob, like lawful,
Falcone.
right? Like the Falcone, right? Like lawful entails order and organization, right? And that could be good or it can be evil. And so when I think of like lawful evil, I think like, yeah, like you're the mob. You're having an organization, you have people, and you're maybe the guy at the top or the guy in the middle, but you follow that order,
right?
You know, you pay up to who you're supposed to pay to, whatever. Like you work within that structural organization to do bad things, but you work with that order. And so I say that's very lawful evil.
Yep. And if you wanted to do it on a more individual side of things, not being a part of an organization, Two-Face is actually a really good example. Harvey Dent is a really good example.
Oh, yeah, he's got like a code. He's got his own like code he follows, which is also very lawful, right? You have a code, you have a tradition, you follow specifics that you do. And, you know, Harvey Dent says, I flip a coin. If the coin says he lives, you know, he lives.
Right.
But the driver might not.
You live, you die.
But the driver wasn't so lucky.
So many great moments in that
Such a good movie.
So good. So where are some friction zones for lawful? I mean, for evil. Some ways to traverse the friction zones of playing an evil alignment if you're lawful evil.
You know, I think with anything like when they think of like lawful evil, I mean, you think of the mob, you know, sometimes like they actually, you know, pay off the right people, right?
That's a
like
good point.
They're going to pay off the cops. They're going to pay off judges, right? So in a way too, you kind of think like, well, so in a way they maybe have friends, like maybe they're paid off friends, but they still got friends, or maybe they work with other people who don't know that what they're doing is for the mafia, right? Maybe they have an agent in the mob that goes and does it for them, so the person doesn't know they're doing it for the mob, right? And so in that case, like, yeah, lawful people are going to work within the confines and constraints of the law and society probably to do what they do, right? They're going to have friends. And so why can't those friends be your adventure party?
I love that. And
you know,
I mean,
right?
You insulate yourself from society. You're a member of the Booster Club and you're
right.
And you cater dinners and you fund the softball league for the I mean, okay, fantasy, you probably don't do this, but maybe there's a softball league in the local town and you fund the softball league, but you're good friends with the mayor. You
buy all the guards really good like new armor and weapons, because when something bad goes on, the last person I'm gonna think of is gonna be you, right? When something wrong happens, right?
Yeah. Well,
why would it be so and so? He bought me new weapons and swords. I mean, come on.
And I mean, that symbiotic relationship between you and the party, like now you need the party because
and the party needs you.
And they need you. You can open doors they can't. You can get things they can't. You know things they don't. You know, or you can find things out they don't. Like you've got kind of special access that they will probably want or need. And if you've got a good DM, they can help weave that in so that it becomes part of the story too.
I mean, I mean, just a random idea we could do. It could be so fun is you could be like a lawful evil rogue, and you are like the burglar, but you never burgle yourself. You always hired it out. Like you are the guy who like plans the cool heist job. And you watch it from afar. And then they bring you all the cool loot. Why not? That sounds really fun. I need to do this. Really cool. I need to do that. Next rogue I play. Here we go.
So you bring that up, and that's good. You insulate yourself from the business, right?
Right.
Like the mob boss example you use, he's not the one that gets his hands dirty.
Right. Never does. I mean,
so
it's hard. It's always hard to get the mob boss, right? Because they can never pin anything on the mob boss.
Right.
Right.
I played a character that was very lawful evil. It was a Star Wars tabletop role-playing game, and I was a Sith operative.
Ooh.
And I think like a faction agent works really well, or a spy or a criminal.
That's a good idea too. Like, you're a faction agent of an evil group,
right?
And you're like here on a mission.
And so
you got cover. Now you have like perfect cover.
Exactly. And part of my shtick, part of what I was supposed to be doing was maintain cover. So like I was actually very dependent on my party, and I wrote it into my backstory to like yield my story wanting to be a part of a party.
Did they ever find your lightsaber?
They never did.
That means you did a good job.
Yeah.
It must have been hard, actually.
Dude, bomb went off on our planet. We went to interrogate where the freaking robot had been built. The Jedi was standing right next to me. And this is the thing. I also insulated my character a little bit with like my background and with my story of and my class type, because I was a scoundrel. So they expected me
kind of rogue type.
Yeah, a rogue type. They expected me to cheat a little. They expected me to lie a little. They expected me to be a little greedy. And then as we were leaving the shop, they didn't know that I had planted a bomb.
Right.
Because I'd used a really good sleight of hand.
Nice.
And boom.
There you go.
And I go, oh my gosh, we got out of there alive. And I passed with advantage. I passed my my bluff or whatever it was check with the Jedi, and he never knew.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Bluff check. That's old.
That's old school.
That's old school. That's
deception check. Sure.
Deception check.
Yeah.
To update to 5th edition here. But hey, I love them bluff checks.
I'm adamantly opposed to the idea that you can't play an evil character, even with like a whole group. Like the more lawful, the better. If you're lawful evil, you want to have a group of all lawful characters because you're all on the same page. None of us are going to break the law, and you'll be the first person to like try to point out their not necessarily hypocrisies, but be like, is that really what the law says? And like you're going to use that as your shield and your sword to do your evil bidding.
Right. And again, and there you go. Now what friction do you really have with the group as your lawful evil character? No, you actually function just well within a playing your lawful evil character, accomplishing clandestine missions for whatever evil organization you work for.
Exactly.
That's cool. I love that. That's
cool.
Great.
So moving on to neutral evil.
Neutral evil. The impassioned. Let me say that right. There's no passion. The I do it because I can. I could get away with it because I wanted to, right?
Yeah, if we want to keep with the Dark Knight, the people that we think depicted that the best was the dirty cops.
Yeah, because they had like a sob story the whole time. Mm-hmm. They're like, I had to do it because they got me early and my mom's in the hospital.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
totally.
And so a lot of times a neutral evil person, again, you're not playing an alignment. You don't go, oh, well, I'm neutral evil. That means I'm just a bad guy.
Because if I can get away with it, I'll do it. Which is true. But stop playing alignment, start playing a character. Like, you probably will have a sob story. Like, I'm doing this because circumstances of life just started that way. And so, of course, I did that.
Yep.
Why would you? Are you going to throw me in jail when my mom will starve?
Right. I mean,
and the paladin will probably have to think twice about that.
That's a really good point. Now, that's where you kind of start to traverse some of those.
Sorry,
it's okay. Well, that's where you try to like start to traverse those friction zones. Is you're not just doing this because your sheet says E. You're doing this because your background, your story, they build up to, this is why my character is the way that my character is. And yeah, a neutral evil character will oftentimes see themselves as a victim of circumstance.
Right.
Yeah, like this is just the way my society is. This is just the way society
grew up on the
made
street.
me.
I had no choice but to steal food.
Exactly.
Of course I grew up like that. Why would it not be bad? My whole life I had to do what I want for food.
And
would you rather me starve? Like...
Yeah, the urchin or somebody like that could be a really great like alignment for that.
For sure.
A soldier or a veteran or somebody like that is super disenchanted because they were part of a bloody war that was just fought for selfish reasons.
That's a cool idea too.
With a noble, right?
Good idea, guys. Use that one. That's a good idea. I think
disenchanted by society, and it's like nothing matters. Or a cleric that's lost their faith.
Whoa, that's another good idea. You're full of it tonight. No, I think that actually sounds really fun to do. Actually, a cleric who's kind of lost their faith with stuff. Yes, their deity. Yes, they're a victim of those circumstances. That is cool. I like that.
But yeah, neutral is probably one of the easier ones to play because it even says in the book,
as long as you get away with it,
get away with.
Right.
So you're not going to go and like try to pick somebody's pocket when
the paladin's watching.
Right there. You're gonna and instead of insulating yourself within the law or within friends or whatever, like a lawful one will, you'll insulate yourself with like shrouds of secrecy, space, maybe alliances within the party of people that are a little bit gray on what you do, sort of thing. You won't be as overt than the other two evil alignments.
You'll be very covert.
Yeah, I think you'll be way more covert.
I think this is probably one of the more common evil that people probably play in reality or try to play.
Yeah.
Or they think of it, that's probably the one they think of.
Yeah.
But again, like remember, don't play your alignment. Like, give yourself a really good story as the reason why you're doing it. Like I said, and that oftentimes will, get you good justification with the party and not having, just, throw you in jail or something like that.
It's important that you remember when you're playing at a table, you're not going to be able to roll deception checks for 5 people plus the DM and the DM's NPCs. Right?
I mean, and in that case, the odds are against you anyway.
Right.
And again, too, like, I mean, as much as we may like to always say we can play without, even though we may know something, about the character, or your character may not know, it's really hard oftentimes to kind of play that way anyway.
It's true.
And so again, just be aware, like, again, when you're trying to do things, like, you'll try and, like you said, do things clandestinely without people noticing or whatever. Yep. And if they do notice, again, you have your fallback of your awesome story.
That's exactly
that can help talk to the party as to why you're doing it, and they'll probably sympathize with you, if anything,
right,
and maybe try to reform you,
right.
And now they're gonna keep you because they're trying to reform this bad guy. It's like, you have no desire to be reformed, but you'll play along with it because
you'll get away with what you can.
It keeps you in the group, and it keeps you making all the money from all the dragon hordes you're robbing and cool things you're finding and treasure chests that aren't hopefully mimics.
Being a part of a adventuring group, people need to remember and recognize is like especially a successful one, that you've actually gone on a few adventures and you haven't died.
That's
in
rare.
The world of D&D, that should feel rare, and it should be like, wow, we've really got something here.
If everybody did that, there'd be no more farmers left. Let me tell you.
Right.
And the economies of the world would be very different than what the book says. Your room would probably not cost a gold piece.
Yeah, all those soldiers that say, I was in adventure once till I, took an arrow through the knee. It's like one arrow. That's all it takes.
Although
that's the difference between you and being the town guard.
We didn't say this before, but evil oftentimes I think is a matter of perspective of society, and that you could almost argue that to all towns, all adventurers are evil because they would probably just come with all their loads of gold and just disrupt the economy of the area, disrupt the economy of the city because there's laying gold around. Like, oh, look at this cool treasure I found. It's like you're a rich guy all of a sudden from doing nothing. Like, nobody probably likes that.
Oh my gosh, this is so awesome. What if you did a party that keeps going to every town they go to? It's like an adventuring party just left, and you're like, what? Why is tavern? Why is this
5 gold?
Yeah.
Why is this mug of ale cost me 5 gold?
Why is bread 25 gold? And it's like, well, these last adventurers that came through, they talked to the farmer, and the farmer had this story about this dream he wanted to do, so they just gave him tons of gold, and he's gone now. So we got no wheat.
Disrupted the economy, and now all adventurers are evil guys. Thanks, you just ruined the economy of the world.
Oh,
good job, guys.
That's so true.
Spend your gold wisely.
As long as you can get away with it.
As long as you get away with it, you're just neutral evil.
So the third evil
chaotic
we have is chaotic.
Joker.
Absolutely.
Quintessential chaotic evil character. Joker.
Absolutely.
Love the Joker.
100%. He is
like passion.
Yes.
All the way. He does it for the thrill, for the love, because he can. Because
Yeah, he doesn't know what he'd do if he catches the car, but so he does things.
He literally is the dog that doesn't know too when he catches the car.
This is what I do.
He just wants to catch the car.
I take the plans and I turn them in on himself. Like, he enjoys it. Like, you know why I don't use a gun? Because, you miss all the little emotions.
Little details. That's why I use a knife.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that guy is quintessential chaotic evil. Now, that said, that's a good iteration of what chaotic evil should be. But it's maybe not as cohesive with a party. That said,
that would probably create lots of friction zones with your group.
That had tons of friction zones.
Yeah, Jokers are great as for the DM. Great villains.
Actually,
probably not the greatest party member, but doesn't mean you can't be chaotic evil.
Yeah, so, you absolutely can.
So how can you traverse that friction zone then with chaotic evil, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so the first one, we've actually seen this in play, and it actually works really well. We said with neutral evil, it's like have a sob story. Well, with chaotic evil, you're doing it for the love of it, the passion of it. Like you enjoy it. And that's the reason why
you're venturing. You're not there for the gold. You're there for all the blood and guts before.
Well, true. And like one thing that we've seen play out really well.
If that's what your passion is, I guess, right?
Yeah.
A chaotic evil character.
Yeah. What we've seen play out really well is split personality.
Oh, yeah.
So there is a background called Nameless. Faceless.
Faceless,
that's it. And
we should make one called Nameless, though.
Dude,
that would be cool.
Hero.
I'm working on that.
Oh, man,
that's going to be cool. That's a new thing coming out.
Jet Li's Hero.
Anyways.
Nameless, that'd be sick.
Faceless.
Faceless means that you have two separate personas. Now,
so you give your group a good one.
You have your overt persona, and then you have your covert persona. And this is actually a really good way to actually factually compartmentalize your chaotic evil actions.
Yeah, and it's in our group when that person did this. It was fun. Is I had them roll a dice to see which personality is winning. So sometimes sometimes they could switch, but they had to stay in that personality sometimes forever. So they had it was a choice when they wanted to switch personalities if they wanted to, or maybe they wouldn't want to. They had to face that dice roll to see if it comes out.
Yeah. And it's so interesting, and
which makes it actually made for a really interesting character. And it was the group didn't know at the beginning.
No,
and it was throwing everybody for like, what is this guy?
What is happening?
Half the time they were scared of him. The other half the time they were like clanking tankards and having fun drinking time with him in the tavern. And they all go home like, oh, I don't know what to think of this guy.
Well, and in his case, he role played it so well because he'd
always
say,
kudos to him.
You see my complexion, like you see everything about me just change.
Talk about what's in his eyes even sometimes.
Yes.
It was cool.
Like his brow furrows, like and like the way he described it, it was very clear like something was going on. And so we keyed in on, maybe it's an item that he has. Maybe he's been cursed. Maybe it's because of this disease that he caught in this last adventure and things like that. And like as a party, that dual personality thing made us want to, help him, not lock him up forever. Kind of thing.
at least at the moment, not yet. Not yet, yeah. maybe we could get there. I don't know.
Yeah. And again, that's sort of the, it's actually not my fault, and that can be okay. Or like you could just be a secret identity could be your other half. And so it's actually a character that members of the party discover and maybe even have clashes with, and then as soon as they're gone, you come walking back on the scene and go, that was crazy, where'd he get off to? And they're like, oh, you just missed him, Clark. He flew off.
Oh boy.
But yeah, there's also other backgrounds or other things or items or other stuff. Like work with your DM and you can figure out how to do something like that could totally work. That can totally work.
And again, again, to were saying earlier, to the other way you could do it is, it's like you have a passion, and like adventuring again is a great way to get it out of your character system per se, right? He wants to go about doing all these bad things, but again, doing it in a town or city it's not going to work. But adventuring is a dangerous job. Mm-hmm. A good way to you love the thrill of it. Maybe it's the thrill of the danger, the traps, and everything else, and occasionally there's a cool, fun monster to slay and to deal with, right? And it's we can get it as an outlet, right? Mm-hmm. So of course you're gonna stay with the party because so long as you're with them, you can keep doing it, right?
Right.
The party wants to kick you out, it stops. So why not keep doing it, right?
Obviously the rogue fits great for all of these. I think actually a chaotic evil bard or a chaotic evil like barbarian, I think fits really well.
It's just kind of and although the character normally is not an evil character, but they kind of take the same idea, right? You think of like Sherlock Holmes, right? And you have Watson, the doctor, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, why is he always with Sherlock? It's because he being an army veteran, he loved the thrill of the danger of it, and so that's true. We always went to do it because he couldn't get away from it. Yeah. They kind of take the same thing too. You could be any class. I mean, you could be the cool fighter who fought in the war even, and he's not haunted by it or something like that. No, he
misses it.
He misses it. He has to keep going back for it, and so he does. And maybe he's very, gruesome with the way he handles things with monsters. Like, sometimes the party's like, I think we should get rid of the guy. We should save him. It's like, nah, you can't, no, he won't answer or have any answers to any questions or whatever, right? Besides, the cleric can just raise him from the dead and ask him questions anyway, right? It's like, they'll come up with cool excuses like that probably to keep doing what they're doing, and they'll probably go too far sometimes with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're the chaotic evil character, you get tapped as the full-time bad cop. And that's such a fun job. That's such a fun job. You're like, this guy's crazy. You really don't want to keep talking to him. Talk to me. I'm your friend.
and then later you sneak on and do it anyway.
Well, and it's the thing is like the chaotic evil character find that symbiotic like mesh with the party, because allowing the party to at least think, oh yeah, you guys have me on a leash, and I'm looking at you going, okay, like can I now?
Right.
Like this guy's
and
not.
And the paladin doesn't want to do it because he's too good for it, but he'll let you do it, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, you're going to run into scenarios and situations that are going to become like that morally ambiguous. And it's like, unlike maybe the lawful character who knows somebody who can do this for us, or the neutral character that will go ahead and take care of it their own way as long as they don't feel like they're going to get caught. The chaotic evil character is maybe a little more overt that, okay, we know that he'll do this. Like, he's a little bit more predictable.
Right.
And so a party will actually even feel a little bit safer with him because they
know what to expect from him,
They know what to expect. And they say, listen, we should set down some ground rules. And as a chaotic character, it makes you itch. You kind of fidget about it.
And you'll naturally probably push against him and try and get around him, but that's who you are.
That's who you are.
But again, at the same time, too, you probably, want to play ball to a certain degree so you can keep doing it.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the symbiote. Now, you need them, too, because, again, You want the treasure,
symbiotic relationship.
You want the thrill. You want the
danger, and the thrill, the traps, the fighting, the slaying of all things that get in your way.
And so take a really, really simple example. Like you guys are setting up an ambush. Like, heck yeah, you're the first one to go in, but to a certain degree, you don't want to just cut open the golden goose. You want to keep the good times rolling. So you wait until the ranger gives the signal. Because but when he does, you do not hold back, and the way you role play it, you just love every second of it and all of that stuff, everything that you do. And when you find the treasure, you find a way to keep a little for yourself because you're greedy, and you have secret places to squirrel it away.
If that's your passion, you're greedy. I like that. That's a fun idea. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us today. We're Motley Mimic, and we'll catch you next time. New dice. We didn't roll it though. Oops. But we're gonna christen you good dice.
Yeah, you are called good dice.
Coming off the heels of this evil video, but you're gonna be a good dice.
You will be a good dice.
You will roll good for us. If not, we have a place for you. Dice jail. All right. I'll give the honors.
I'll go first.
Better be good though.
Guys, let's do this.
There's a 50-50 chance. Ooh! That's a 3. That's bad, Tyler.
I'm gonna open this up preemptively.
Are you just unlucky?
I think I might just be unlucky. But
come on, dice. Don't be afraid.
Let's see. Okay,
10.
roll back to
average.
10.
That's average. It's
you
almost
can pass
17.
a death saving throw. Let's give this thing. Let's make it a death saving throw. So it has 1 pass, 1 fail.
Okay.
We're gonna kill you.
Dude, do not roll death saves for me ever. 7?
It's 1 fail away from death.
Oh, we died.
That was a 4. Adios, buddy.
We're not using that one either. We'll have a no one next time
bad luck with dice.
unless we're just that unlucky.
You guys talk about it.
Should we give it one more chance? Another video though.
Yeah, we'll probably give him another chance.
I think we should get one more chance. We'll give it a suspension.
That's right.
Until the next video. Dice betrayed us. Jeez.
I think that was bad dice. Who's evil?
Maybe it's the dice tray.
Good point.
Oh, new dice tray. Here we go, guys. All right.
Aha.
Yeah, new dice tray.
That was good. That was actually really good. And